going to put this on record so I can put it on the membership. And I'll spotlight my video. Great. Okay. So we're going to actually do a tiny bit of movement first, just because it's first thing in the morning. And if we come to sit, it might be slightly uncomfortable. So just come into tabletop and just take a moment to kind of move around the mat, maybe warming up the wrists. Not worrying too much about alignment or what's right or wrong right now, but just kind of feel into your body, maybe moving in some circles. You might start to move through some cat-cows or barrel rolls, maybe moving in figures of 8. Your body might be feeling a little bit stiff, so you're just trying to encourage a little bit of fluidity into it. Getting that breath going, moving slow, moving fast, whatever works for you. And just kind of waking up the body, waking up the mind. And just move for about 5 more breaths. And eventually make your way into tabletop position. Keeping your left hand on the mat, let's just peel our right hand up to the sky. And then thread your right arm underneath, taking your ear and your shoulder onto the mat, walking that left arm forwards. And just staying here, allowing the weight of the body to kind of come down onto that right shoulder. Taking a couple breaths here, just let the chest be heavy. And then push into that left hand. Send that right hand back forwards, coming into child's pose. So your left hand was forwards. We slide the right hand to meet it, and we just sit back into a little child's pose here, stretching out the shoulders. And then pull yourself into tabletop position, and we'll take it on the other side. So right hand stays put, left hand lifts high. And then thread that arm under, taking the ear and the shoulder down. Take that right hand forwards, let the head be heavy, and start to let the shoulders just become super heavy. Feel the chest become heavy. Bum nice and high. Few nice deep breaths here. Good. Okay, you're going to press into your right hand, slide the left hand forwards, again coming into that child's pose, maybe pushing the bum back. Let the head drop. And then just gently walk the hands to the right, maybe taking the left hand on top, stretching through the side body. And just think about trying to create as much space as you can along that left rib cage. And then start to walk yourself over to the left this time. Right hand comes on top. Try to keep the forehead down. Breathing here, finding space. We're creating all this length so we can sit up nice and tall when we're doing our meditations. And then walk the hands back through center. Look to the hands. Pull yourself up into tabletop position. And we're just going to open up the hips. So tucking right toe, dragging it behind you. And we're going to step our right foot to the outside of our right hand, just finding a little lizard here. And feel free to be quite lazy in this lizard if you kind of want to round the back, let the head drop. Just trying to open up into that right hip, making sure that your knee isn't overshooting that ankle. If anything, you want the toes a little bit further forwards. We're going to be sitting for about probably around 25 minutes. So we want to make sure that we've created some space. And sitting cross-legged for any period of time can present many challenges, especially to all of us who live on chairs. Nice. Couple more breaths here. Maybe letting that knee float out to the side. Coming onto the knife edge of that foot. Good. And then stepping that knee back, bringing yourself back into that tabletop position, tucking left toe, dragging that left toe behind you, kicking into that heel, getting that little hamstring stretch, and then stepping that foot to the outside of that left hand. Again, if your foot doesn't come far enough forwards, you're going to get quite an intense bend in that knee, and we don't want that. So step that foot further forwards. And again, feel free to be quite like lazy here. You can kind of push in and out of this lizard pose. Just feeling into the hips. And again, if you want to, you can tip onto the outside edge of that foot and just let the knee drop out. Just kind of exploring this space, creating this space. We need deep flexion, lots of external rotation to come into seated poses. Good. Push into those hands, stepping that knee back. And we're going to bring ourselves to seated. So finding whatever devices you are going to use to make this more comfortable for yourself. And also I would say, make sure that you are wearing warm enough clothes. I've got my socks on because we are going to be quite still. So if you feel like, oh, I'm a little bit chilly, you don't want to be sitting here the whole time going, I'm too cold, I'm too cold. So it's almost like when we come into meditation, we want to take away any kind of distractions as possible. There's going to be heaps of distractions constantly, but if you can make your temperature warm enough, that's a big one. So I'm just going to introduce how I'm going to bring you in and out of the meditation. So we're going to do about 3 different styles of meditation this morning. And I'm just going to use my
battery 90%. Connected
please
to
come off mute.
iPhone and iPhone.
Mute all. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use this bowl, this singing bowl, to bring you out of the meditations. And I'm just going to do one little chime like that, okay? So when you hear this, it doesn't mean that you have to go ping and kind of move out of that meditation. You know, you give yourself a few breaths to bring yourself back. Another thing, when we move between the meditations, I don't want you to instantly transition to me. And what I mean by that is don't instantly look at your screen. I want you to take some time softening the eyes if they're closed, just kind of noticing the space around you to ground you and bring you back with the natural surroundings rather than this connection to technology, because hopefully one day you can practice meditation on your own. So the first style of meditation that we're going to do this morning is with our object. And this is a style of Vipassana. So this is mindfulness meditation. And it's a way of staying focused and keeping ourselves present. So I want you to take your object and just place it in front of you so that you're not touching it. And I want you to just look, okay? So we're going to spend about 2 minutes, which might seem crazy, just looking, okay? And every once in a while, if you want to turn the object so you can see a different side of it, that's fine as well. So I like to bring my hands onto my lap, palms facing up. This helps me just be a bit more open. But if you feel more comfortable with the palms facing down, then go for it. So eyes open. I want you to start to take in what you see, really looking. We are always looking, we're always seeing, but are we really being present? And every time I practice this style of Vipassana, this style of mindfulness, I always will see something that I didn't ever notice before on things that I've had in my life forever. Maybe there's a tag, maybe you're reading the words on the tag that you've never seen before. And feel free to look at it from different angles. Noticing maybe if memories are coming up. Notice maybe if you feel a real resistance. Imagine that you had to describe with extreme detail this object and you're trying to memorize everything that you possibly can about it. And then picking the object up in your hands, if you haven't done so already, and you're going to close your eyes. And I want you to just start to feel. So moving your fingers, your palms, the tips of your fingers around the object. And just noticing every curve, every edge. As if now you were a sculptor. And after this, you would have to recreate the object simply by how it feels in your hands. And then slowly taking your object and just moving it towards the face. And I want you to just start to smell the object. And some of these things might feel a little bit abstract, a little bit weird. Notice how the smell changes if you take the object really far away. And just slowly move it towards your nose. And if you can, try not to just assume that there is no smell. Think about how it changes the texture of the air coming towards your nose. So maybe not just the scent, but how is the air that you breathe in and out of the nose changed when that object is really close? And perhaps it's a memory smell. Perhaps when you hold the object, maybe it doesn't smell like it anymore, but if it was to smell like the memory, what would you be smelling? And then keeping the eyes closed, just move the object towards the ear. And I want you to just listen. Now, obviously, my blanket really doesn't create noise, but when I move it, how does it sound? If I place it all the way on my ear, how does it muffle the noise from within the room, from outside the room? If your object has moving parts, move the parts, listen. Think outside of the box here. How does the object manipulate sound? And then gently placing the object into your lap, holding on to it, feeling the weight of it, the texture of it. And I want you to just engage with the energy of the object. So if that's a bit woo-woo, I want you to think about, what stories does this object hold? What memories? How did it get to you? Where has it been before? And just kind of let your mind wander with the energy, with the stories. Notice when you're getting pulled away from the object. And if you notice this, just recognize it and bring yourself back. If the emotions that come up from the object make you happy, smile. If they make you sad, perhaps let a tear go. Just allow yourself to be carried away with the object. Slowly soften the gaze, perhaps just looking down to the object in front of you. Looking around the room, just noticing what you see, and bringing yourself out of the meditation. Nice. So there's another element that you can use with this meditation, and obviously that's taste, but it might have been weird if we all started licking our object. But this is a really good style of meditation. I don't know if you've ever heard of tea meditations, but the whole process of drinking a tea or a coffee in the morning can be done with this style of meditation. So you really engage with the process of looking at the tea or the coffee, the making of it, the change of the color as you add the milk, the stirring, the texture. You feel the heat of the cup. You listen to any sounds. You smell, you really take in that scent. And then obviously you drink that tea or that coffee the whole time, just tuning into the senses. How does it taste on the tongue? How does it feel in the throat, the heart, the belly? And it's a really, really visceral process. And the whole, duration of that might be 10 minutes, but it's a really great way to bring you into the present moment. So if you are somebody who's always, really thinking about the past or the future, anxiety, then just taking 10 minutes, doing that style of meditation with a beverage. Okay. A hot drink is nice because you've got that real sort of temperature that you can feel with the hands, with the tongue, everything like that. So that's a really nice style of meditation. So the next one that we're going to do is one that helps to bring up something called global awareness. And we kind of go through our life constantly judging and sorting things. So when we look at things in our life, we're saying, okay, that's important, I'll clock that. That's not important, I'm not going to take that in. And especially in the UK, this idea of hierarchy. And what we want to do with global awareness is this taking everything in, not seeing everything on a level, and just being able to be with what we see, with what's in the world. And this really helps with change. Okay. So as we grow older, we sort of covet things, people, objects. And what we need to learn about life is that nothing is permanent. Okay. So everything changes, everything moves on in one capacity or the other. A washing machine will break, we'll have to get a new one. We will lose people that we love in our lives, our pets. And the more that we practice this global awareness, the more that we practice this, okay, I see that, but that's as equal as that, the easier these life transitions can be. And I'm not saying that they won't be traumatic. And I'm not saying that, if I practice global awareness meditation, I won't feel hurt. That's not what I'm saying, but it helps us not be so traumatized, not be so unable to move on. So all that I want you to do is bring yourself again. If you want to switch the cross of the legs or shuffle, please feel free to do so. So what I want you to do is lock your gaze on my eyes. Okay. And you can do this with a non-moving object. So when you practice on your own, but just start to look at my eyes, and I want you to really focus your gaze. Okay. And I'm going to be moving, and I want you to ignore what's happening, what my hands are doing, my gesticulations. Okay. But just stay focused on my eyes, noticing when they blink, maybe seeing if you can notice what color they are. Maybe noticing how tired I might look, but just staying really, really focused. Can you ignore everything else? Can you ignore all the plants in the background, trying not to zip the eyes towards them? Just staying focused on my eyes. And then soften your gaze just slightly. And I want you to take in the whole circle of my face. Again, ignoring all the other colors in the background, all the other movement. Can take in my hair as well. It's kind of taking over my head. So just really focusing on my face. Now noticing the movement of my mouth. Again, still noticing the eyes, but maybe less focused on the eyes, maybe softening there. And then slowly start to soften the eyes a little bit more. And I want you to start to take in about a foot or two around the head. So you maybe are starting to take in my chest and shoulders. You're taking in some of the background, noticing what's happening here, but not taking in the whole screen yet. Just noticing what's happening around. Seeing if you can stay focused like that. You're still looking straight ahead, but all you're doing is softening the gaze. So I now want you to soften the gaze so much that you're taking in the whole square of your screen. Now, you probably won't be able to make out my eyes anymore. My eyes have probably kind of faded. And you're not looking at one part of the screen more than the other. You're just softening. So what we're doing here is we're taking away the focal point and we're working on the peripheral vision. So see if you can just stay with the square of your screen for a moment. Blink, don't just keep the eyes open. You want to blink, but you're just softening the gaze. And like you did with my head, I want you now to soften to about a foot around the screen. So still taking in the screen, but about a foot around the screen as well. The screen might be getting a little bit fuzzy. Try not to take in the whole room. Still remaining quite centered really, but we're widening that global awareness. And then over the next minute or so, I want you to just slowly soften until eventually you're taking in all of this space. Imagining that you could see to the sides of the head as well, but moving slowly, letting that vision soften. Notice when the mind wants to attach to an object, attach to something in the room, and see if you can just soften it. No, I don't need to connect to that. And just explore what happens here. Keep softening. And from here, just slowly see if you can refocus on my eyes. You might feel a little bit cross-eyed, but just slowly bringing that awareness back, almost like you're traveling through a vortex. You're making your way all the way back to my eyes. Good. Nice. So that style of meditation, I wouldn't recommend if you're driving or operating anything. Might be a nice one to do if you're feeling really kind of anxious or like you can't control the mind, everything's kind of really scatty. It's almost like smoothing out the edges, quite literally, as we allow the eyes to soften. We're sort of equalizing everything and we bring ourselves into this kind of state of nothing is better, nothing is worse already. So the last style of meditation that we are going to do is a dhyana style of meditation. And this is that real classic, idea of somebody sitting on a cushion. They're completely still. There's nothing going on in their mind. They've like floated to a higher self, a higher state. It's probably going to be frustrating for us, okay? We're not used to just sitting in silence, and I am literally, which is hard for me, going to stop speaking. And what I want you to do is not focus on external things. So both the meditations that we've been doing before, it's concentrating, it's taking something in, it's, feeling, it's engaging. We're now going to do the opposite. We're going to let all the thoughts kind of disappear and we're going to try to find the moments of stillness. Now, the more that you practice this style of meditation, the more you'll find stillness easier and the longer you'll be able to stay with it. What probably will happen to you today is you'll say, oh, I'm not thinking of anything. And then the moment you do that, you're obviously thinking of something. So think about yourself as kind of exploring the mind and you're just hunting, seeking moments of quiet, moments of stillness. We're going to practice this for about 5 minutes. So you are going to sit in silence for 5 minutes. I want you to close the eyes. And when the mind is thinking, just let the thoughts happen. Try not to engage with them. And just keep exploring. Keep trying to find those moments of stillness. And if you find a moment of stillness, just kind of settle into it. Don't try to change it. And don't be upset or frustrated if it's like a millisecond. Okay? So, bringing yourself again into a comfortable position, closing the eyes, and just start to explore, seeking out stillness and quiet. And again, just taking your time to softly open the eyes, maybe looking down to the knees, to the floor, to what's just in front of you. And taking a deep inhale, bringing the hands high to the sky. And as the palms come to touch, looking up to the hands, following the fingers as you slowly drop the hands to the heart center. And then just slightly bow the chin, bringing the nose, the forehead, the eyes towards the fingers. And just take a deep inhale here. Feel the chest rise, the hands rise. And exhale out of the mouth. Well done. Namaste. Well done, guys. That was a little taster of a few styles of meditation. Like always, if you've got any questions, let me know. But it's really an exploration. Every time you sit down to meditate, it's going to feel completely different. Some days will just fit into place, and some days will just feel like a battle the whole time. But enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your month. Happy March 1st. And yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see y'all later. Bye, guys.